Hey, it's Thomas here, and today we're going to check out how you can save a chunk of cash on Tropic Marin's All-For-Reef by mixing it up yourself at home with this DIY kit. So if you love the idea of dosing just one additive to your reef tank for major and minor elements, either by hand or with only one dosing pump, so you can keep things simple and know your corals, whether they're softies, LPS, or SPS, are getting the major and minor elements they need to grow into colorful and robust colonies and save 60% of the cost to do it, then you definitely want to check out this All-For-Reef DIY kit. It's really easy. If you're unfamiliar with Tropic Marin's All-For-Reef, it is a single liquid additive that you can dose to your tank to maintain calcium, alkalinity, magnesium, as well as trace elements. It is one of the simplest ways to keep the most important major and minor elements in our reef tanks at the right levels and stable, and unlike traditional two-part dosing, it will not raise the salinity of your reef tank over time since it's based on calcium formate rather than calcium chloride and sodium bicarbonate. It also carries no risk of pH spikes or precipitation events, which is excellent. Liquid All-For-Reef is notably pricier than traditional two-part or three-part additives, and although certainly capable of sustaining larger or high-demand reef tanks like a wall-to-wall SPS reef, it was prohibitively costly to do so until now. Tropic Marin has shared their recipe so you can easily make up your own batch of liquid DIY All-For-Reef, slashing the cost by over 60% by letting us buy in bulk and mix up the concentrated components ourselves. And it's pretty dang easy to do, especially because you can purchase all of the components that you need as a kit that includes carbocalcium, biomagnesium, ProTrace cationic K elements, and ProTrace anionic A elements. There are two versions of this DIY All-For-Reef kit. Both the 5 and 10 liter kits have enough biomagnesium, trace A, and trace K to make 10 liters of All-For-Reef. The only difference is the 5 liter kit comes with a 700 gram container of carbocalcium, while the 10 liter kit includes a 1400 gram container. So if you do pick up the 5 liter kit like the one I've got here, you can always grab an extra 700 gram container of the powdered carbocalcium when you're ready to make that remaining 5 liters. To mix up 1 liter of DIY All-For-Reef, you'll need a container that is 1 liter or larger, 750 milliliters of RODI at room temperature or lukewarm, a scale that reads in grams. A kitchen scale works really well for this, a stir stick or similar implement made from reef-safe material. I use an acrylic rod, or you could use a magnetic stirrer to make things faster and hands-free. And a pair of gloves never hurts if you've got sensitive skin like me. Personally, I like to pre-measure each of the components out into clean containers before I start adding them to the water and mixing them. That way I don't have to stop stirring my solution to measure something out, and I can just continuously keep stirring. So with that said, first measure out 140 grams of carbocalcium powder, 12 grams of biomagnesium powder, 100 milliliters of ProTrace A, and 100 milliliters of ProTrace K. Next, in your 1 liter container filled with 750 milliliters of room temperature or warm RODI water, slowly add the 140 grams of carbocalcium powder while stirring continually. Once the powder is mostly dissolved, add the 12 grams of biomagnesium powder while continuing to stir. After that has mostly dissolved, add the 100 ml of ProTrace A followed by the 100 ml of ProTrace K and continue to stir until the solution goes from cloudy to clear. Once it's fully dissolved and mixed, the liquid will be clear with a mild blue tint and ready for use. All-For-Reef is very stable and can last indefinitely, so if you prefer filling up big containers of liquid solution so you don't have to mix up new batches frequently, you certainly can. Dosing is really simple as well, and you can start by adding 5 milliliters of All-For-Reef per 100 liters or 26 gallons of aquarium water daily, testing your alkalinity and increasing the daily dose by 2.5 milliliters until you reach your target alkalinity level in your reef tank, which for most of us will be somewhere between 7 to 9 DKH. While you should also certainly test for calcium and magnesium as well, both of those elements are tied to alkalinity consumption, and All-For-Reef is balanced so that if your alkalinity is within range, those other elements, including trace elements, should be as well. Another great benefit of using All-For-Reef in this DIY format is that if you find, for example, that your tank consumes less magnesium and your magnesium level is starting to creep up, you can adjust the amount of that magnesium additive you're putting into your All-For-Reef when you mix up the next batch, or if it consumes more magnesium, you can simply add some extra biomagnesium to your reef to bump the levels back up, which makes this method of dosing All-For-Reef a little bit more flexible. Despite having a ton of equipment on my tank, I really do like the idea of keeping things simple and easy wherever possible. So being able to dose a single liquid to take care of all the minor and major trace elements, and being able to track that with only a single test kit like this alkalinity HANA checker. And if I want to, being able to put that on a single dosing pump for some hands-free reefing is just a very appealing option, and it's really stacks on the savings. If you want to see a really cool little single channel digital dosing pump that you can use for dosing something like All-For-Reef, you can check it out right here. I go through both the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi versions, kind of tell you the differences between the two. They're both awesome. Not sure I want a calcium reactor anymore. Check it out.